One of the most common misconceptions I see with contractors when it comes to marketing is the level of ROI that they're going to get. Now, first of all, what is ROI? What I'm talking about is return on investment. So a simple way to explain this is to ask you a couple questions. And if you want, you can pause the video at each question and just think about your answer for a second. This is something that, if you're selling projects, your customers are going through a similar thought process. So it'd be good for you to think through this and answer these questions on your own, and then also think through it as your customers might be and think about what they might be thinking. So return on investment. If I were to offer you a deal where you give me $1 and I give you $2, what would you do? Would you take it? I would definitely take that deal. I would do that all day long. Now, what if I said, you give me $100 and I'll give you $200? What about you give me $1,000, I'll give you $2,000? How about $5,000? You give me $5,000, I give you $10,000. Anybody would take that deal, and it's extremely obvious. You're getting 100% return on your investment in a matter of seconds. So what if I extend the timeline a bit? You give me $5,000 and I'll give you $10,000 in 6 months. Would you take that deal now? Well, you might. If that money isn't really important to you today, you'd probably make that investment. But if you only have $5,000, you're probably not going to be willing to part with all of your money right now for a promise of a return in 6 months. So that's a similar, with any investment that you make, you have to ask yourself similar questions. And in today's world of instant gratification, where everybody's constantly on their phone and they're getting everything instantly, it's easy for business owners to think that everything's going to happen instantly. In the contractor marketing world, we have these services like Angie Leads and Home Advisor and these companies that are promising you instant gratification. And on one hand, that's really great. You can give them money today and get leads today and hopefully make some sales. But you pay for that instant gratification through other ways. For one, it's very expensive to buy those leads. Two, a lot of those leads aren't going to be any good. So you're going to spend a lot of time sifting through those, trying to find the good ones and trying to turn those into projects. And with other types of marketing, it's the same thing. You can start advertising on Google using Google Ads or AdWords, and you can get pretty quick results. But it's very similar to buying leads. It's very expensive, and you're going to have to work very hard and put a lot of time into figuring out a sales process that helps you capitalize as much as possible on those leads that you do get. Because if you're doing your marketing that way, you can't really afford to waste any of those leads. And also a lot of them are going to not be very good. With organic marketing, the timeline is extended even further out, but the return is even greater. So you might spend $5,000 today and not really get any leads for 6 months. But then 12 months from now, you might be getting enough leads to make $5,000 a month. And so, that can quickly, the ROI can be 1,000%, 10,000% ROI, but it's going to take a long time. And so you have to weigh all these things. How quickly do you need results? And are you willing to pay for the timeline that you're on? Now, in my opinion, any well-balanced business owner or well-balanced business is going to take advantage of many of these things. You want to be operating on multiple timelines. You want to be doing things that will work quickly and at least get good at marketing tactics like that, because the day might come where you need to get jobs quick. And so knowing how to do that can be very beneficial. But on the flip side, if you can work on the longer timeline marketing tactics that are going to bring results consistently over a long time period, then you won't have to rely on these instant gratification tactics. Now, at the end of the day, there is no perfect solution to any of these problems, and business is a competition. Chances are in your area, there are tons of other contractors around, and you're all competing for the same pool of customers. And Pareto's principle, it's a law of nature that states that the few at the top, the few contractors at the top of the pack here, they're going to get most of the customers. And if you want to, really grow your business and be successful, you're going to have to be one of those few at the top. You can get by being one of the guys at the bottom, but you're always going to struggle, and it's going to be very difficult for you, when times get tough, just to get by. So hopefully that sheds some light. There's a really common misconception on the ROI that people are expecting to get. A lot of people people think, oh, if I just spend a few $100s, then I'll make tens of thousands of dollars back. And while that might be possible on very rare occasions, most of the time you're going to be operating on a much smaller return, like a 2-for-1. You put $100 in the front of your business, you get 200 out the back. And if you have a really well-oiled machine business that operates super smoothly, then you'll be able to put more money in the front and count on getting a certain amount out of the back. But if you're just working for yourself and you're just getting started here, your goal is to build a business that has employees and you have a team of people doing things and you've got a lot of projects going on all the time. You're operating at the scale is going to require that you operate on longer timelines than you look further into the future. And it's very unlikely that you're ever going to be able to get a gigantic ROI super easily. If it was super easy, everyone would do it. If everyone did it, it wouldn't work anymore. So that's just the way that business works. Hopefully that gives you some things to think about when it comes to what kind of return you can expect to get when you invest in your marketing and in your business.